Try to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, a.k.a. Derringer. Today is Sunday, October 28th, and you're listening to episode 180 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside 2 news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So we're sitting right now at less than a week away from this year's Extra Life live streaming event. I know I mentioned it on last week's show, but I want to give another shout out about it on this week's show before I even get into it, just to let you guys know that I will be live streaming next weekend on the Saturday, probably starting around noon and then going at least until midnight. Maybe even longer because it's daylight savings here in the U.S. that time. I'll be turning the clocks back. Maybe I will turn the clocks back live on stream. That would be friggin' hilarious. And then maybe even going longer than that before I have a soccer game the following morning. So again, head on over to twitch.tv/theDerringer. Throw a follow out there so you know when I'll go live. And please come and say hello to me. And if you feel like it's a worthwhile endeavor, please throw a small donation at me. Anything is great. $1, $5, more. It doesn't matter. I'll make sure there's a link for you guys to check that out as well. Enough about me, though. I hope you guys have been doing what I've been doing this past week and really taking advantage of the double XP. And Friday, I definitely took advantage of the quad XP to work on some of my Halloween directive stuff, in addition to just, chugging along and getting as much XP as humanly possible while you were able to get it. The only sad thing is that they turned off bounties on Friday, and then they weren't back on Saturday. I haven't had a chance to log in yet today, so I'm not sure if they're back yet. They will be eventually, don't worry, if they're not. But I know why they don't have bounties on Friday when it's quad XP for members, and that's because if you were to drop bounties left and right, you'd earn more certs than it costs to actually place the bounty on a person, and you can't have a negative cert issue like that, or I guess a positive cert issue like that. Otherwise, people would just be placing bounties nonstop and placing so many more of them just to get more certs back than they were actually spending on the bounties themselves. I would happily do it, but it's sad that that's turned off. But again, I understand why it's turned off. Maybe they can just turn that on for me and let me place a bounty on quad XP. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't be happy with that, but I certainly would be happy with that. But again, enough about me. Hope you guys took advantage of it like I did. What's in store for this week's show? Well, first, I have the October 22nd PS4 game update cover, followed by the simultaneous PC and PS4 hotfixes on the 25th. After that, I want to talk about the anniversary bundle helmet that Rel teased, and then finish up this week's show with a Call of Duty topic that caught my eye on Reddit. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. And like I said, topic number one this week is the October 22nd PS4 game update. I'm not going to go super in-depth into this game update because it's primarily the exact same stuff that came to the PC side of the game a couple weeks ago. But obviously the biggest thing within this game update, it's also titled the Seeds of Terror game update. For Night of the Living Dead 5 Seeds of Terror for PS4 as well as PC, because again, the biggest thing that dropped on that for the PS4 is the Nanite of the Living Dead event, which means you guys can get your hands on the Ecto Blaster now. You can get your hands on that specially Halloween themed Python AP cannon for your lightning. You can get you can be hunting pumpkins out there. You can also get all the wacky helmets. You can get the Ichabod Crown helmet because it's out there. Everybody has it for free to get additional XP. Again, Nanite of the Living Dead is the biggest thing that dropped in this game update for the PS4. But in addition to that, there were a whole bunch of other things that have been on PC for a little while now that also made their way to the PS4. The aerial anomaly changes, where a new one spawns before the old one despawns, is up on PS4. They added the unstable meltdown. That's anytime a continent is in the unstable warp gate phase, it can now actually go to a meltdown phase at some point if it never unlocks from that unstable phase. They added the NSAM8 short bow. That's the close range archer variant that you can obtain now from winning an alert. And don't forget that you need to own some sort of archer on your character and then participate in 90% of the alert and also win the alert on your faction in order to even be eligible to earn that short bow weapon. And again, the odds are extremely small of unlocking it. Also, you guys got some of the UI changes. The engineer ammo pack no longer overlaying terminal icons, additional messaging for energy-based vehicle abilities that are on cooldown, and bounty spotted indicators now showing the player's facing direction are all in there. Squad changes as well, including giving platoon leaders access to leaders chat, sitrep giving more accurate messages, and issues where sitrep would sometimes show negative capture time values. You also got the initial round of Wraith Cloak nerfs. You also got the Valkyrie small arms resistance buff, and the Buzzard, Starfall, and Pillager. Those are the flash weapons that you could earn during the summer event are now in the depot, plus the various changes that I talked about a few weeks ago coming to them as well. You also got the attachment changes to the comfort grips that increase the unequipped speeds, the laser sight and advanced laser sights now using correct numerics in their strings. You got the implant changes to critical chain, where the chamber speed no longer goes away upon the first shot. It also is storing charges, allowing multiple headshots in succession to stack duration, and also gave you different visuals to show that the buff is active. And then finally, on top of that, there were a couple little miscellaneous changes that were dropped into the PS4 as well. But again, like I said, the biggest thing that you guys got this time around is the Nanites of the Living Dead. I didn't like the fact that it's been a few weeks now that Nanite of the Living Dead has been on PC before it made its way to the PS4. I don't think that that's fair for the PS4 folks. I mean, we do know that they've extended the Nanite of the Living Dead event out until November 11th at this time. But I haven't seen any word of them extending it on the PS4 a couple weeks further than that to give you guys the same amount of time that the PC side did. What I'm hoping, though, is that Daybreak Games walks away from this as a learning experience, that when they've got an event like this coming out, that they need to be a little better at getting them both to drop at the same time on both platforms. Because like I said, I just don't think that it's fair that the PC side's got a pretty big jump on completing this stuff before the PS4 folks did. And if it's still going to end on the 11th at this point, then you guys are definitely missing out on the same amount of time that the PC side players are getting. So again, not that I think Daybreak Games has done a bad job of launching stuff at similar time frames between PC and PS4 in the past, but this one, since it's so new and fresh in everybody's mind, it's kind of sticking out in my mind, at least like a sore thumb right now, that it's a little unfair. So again, hopefully Daybreak Games is aware of this, that it's something on their radar, because obviously we're going to have the Christmas holiday events right around the corner in little over a month away. I expect to see that stuff. And if we're going to have the 25 days of Araxmas again, I would hope that launches correctly on the 1st of December and not 2 weeks later, making you guys miss out on stuff. I think they need to be a little more aware that delaying things like that or not getting them out timely can certainly affect one side of their game, unlike it does to the other. So again, just throwing that out there. I'm sure that they're aware of the suckiness of that, and we'll see if they fix that come the Christmas holiday event. And if they don't, I'll make sure to mention it again at that time. But with that, let's move on to our second topic this week. And that second topic was, as I said at the beginning of the show, the simultaneous launching of the October 25th PC and PS4 hotfixes. And again, because these both dropped at the exact same time, it makes me think that, yeah, they're aware that they kind of made a mistake with the Halloween stuff. So they were pushing some of these things out at the exact same time to both of them. So the first and biggest change with both PC and PS4 on October 25th is that they feel at this time they now have the disconnect issues resolved. And they specifically said that they rolled back significant infrastructure changes brought in by the recent Halloween update in order to fix the disconnect issues some players were having. This change should not impact gameplay or any progression earned during that time. Now, they don't obviously go into too much depth to say what they actually rolled back, but it's good to see that they're willing to make a rollback for something that is affecting some of their players. And granted, I've seen posts on Reddit and on the forums with some people incorrectly labeling that the vast majority of players were unable to connect to the game or getting disconnected to the game, and that is a completely false statement. I don't believe that the majority of players were having issues. It was just limited or restricted to a handful, or maybe more than a handful, but a small amount of players were experiencing this. And yes, it sucked if you were one of those players. I'm not going to downplay that whatsoever, but I do need to dispel the notion that large swaths of Planetside 2 players were unable to connect or play the game, because that's not correct. Next in the October 25th hotfix was the construction experience shut off. And this is basically because a lot of people were stat padding their construction experience for repairing things. So basically, as items decay within your construction base, you can repair them to bring them back up. So people were building a base and then placing some items within the base itself and then allowing them to decay and continuously repairing them so that they would earn ticks and get a lot of experience for repairing large construction objects. Basically, if you were repairing a large construction object, you were getting 30 experience per tick. They've reduced that down to 5. If you were repairing a medium object, you were getting 20 experience per tick. They've reduced that down to 5. Maxes were also getting 10. They've reduced those down to 5 as well. And what it's doing with those changes, it's going to put all the ticks in line with one another as far as experience earned, because clearly you could get more experience by just building a large construction object and then letting it decay over time. And again, lots of people, I got to dispel that notion if I just dispelled the everybody getting disconnected. A small subset of the player base was using the construction experience for repairs to pad their stats and earn a lot of experience in a short amount of time. So this is something that needed to be, fixed and changed by the devs. And I believe I saw a post from Rel that specifically said, if you're doing something like this, it is stat padding and it is against the terms of service, and you will receive a 3-day ban for doing stuff like this. So good that they're taking care of it, and we'll just kind of leave it at that. Next, there were also some miscellaneous changes and fixes. First off, the Hallow Hunter directive can no longer be triggered by killing non-player characters and teammates. When I say NPCs, there was a glitch in the game which allowed you to throw an ammo pack and then shoot that ammo pack, and it would be considered killing a non-player character. And therefore working towards your Hallow Hunter directive. I'm very glad that they turned that off. I'm sad that I didn't realize that was in place and missed out on it. They also fixed some clipping issues with vehicle ability timers and weapon bar timers. They also fixed an issue where vehicle horns and vehicle performance slots could show the wrong information until the window itself was refreshed. Just minor things. Next, there were a few vehicle adjustments, and again, this happened on both PC and PS4 side. First, starting with the Enforcer on the Vanguard and Harasser. The blast inner radius was changed from 0.5 meters out to 1 meter, so bigger, and the blast damage was changed from 150 to 175. And what they've done here is they've knocked the 3-shot infantry kill down to about 2 shots by way of a blast damage buff, so that the choice between Enforcer and Halberd is a bit more preference-based than it was before. Next, the Vulcan also got some changes. Its max damage range was reduced from 25 meters down to 10 meters on the Harasser. The minimum damage range went from 100 meters to 50 meters on the Harasser. The max damage range on the Prowler went from 40 meters down to 15 meters, and the minimum damage range on the Prowler went from 100 meters down to 60 meters. So the reasoning behind this is they said back on June 12th, their update gave the Vulcan some much-needed power, but they felt it went too far. It overshadowed the power and role of mid- and long-range weapons, while surpassing other factional close-quarter combat weapons as well. So what they're doing is pulling some of the range buff back while leaving the rate of fire increase, so that playing to the weapon's effective range is more important than just the range itself. Finally, the Saron also got some changes as well. On the Mag Rider, the Cone of Fire Bloom was reduced from 0.5 to 0.35, and on the Harasser from 0.75 to 0.5. And what these changes do is it changes the number of shots until hitting maximum Cone of Fire from 2 shots to 3 shots, while firing at the maximum rate of fire itself. So what this does is it forces tighter groupings to increase the effectiveness of the weapon over range itself. Again, all these changes hit both the PC and the PS4 side of the game at the exact same time. So again, that is that hotfix altogether. The biggest thing, obviously, for me is that disconnect issue being resolved. And hopefully, if you've been holding off on playing Planetside 2 for a little while because you were constantly getting disconnected, now's the time to log back in and play the game. Also, remember, if you were someone who was getting disconnected constantly, it seems that the devs are still working on what they're going to give out as compensation for those players, so don't think that the simple double XP for an entire week is the only thing that they're sending out there. So watch to see if there's any ways that you can kind of get in their face and claim this. And of course, if I see anything about it, I'll let you guys know. But with that, let's move on to this week's Veteran's Voice. Take it away, Romus.
Information is power on the battlefield, and the key to success is knowing more than your enemy. This means not only learning more about them, but depriving them of information about you. This, of course, is the realm of stealth. Stealth is obviously where infiltrators like to hang out, but everybody, all classes, can claim a piece of the pie. Allow me to paint you a picture. Your squad is trying to take a base, however, the defenders are being especially annoying. What do you plan to do? You plan to take a couple of your squad mates and circle around behind, so they have to fight in 2 directions. In the process of this flanking maneuver, you suddenly hear from the back of your squad, "Enemy medic spotted! Enemy mech spotted! Enemy..." Yeah, that's the sound of Bloggins blowing it again. I hates him. The Q key allows you to see where everybody is and pass that information along to your squad mates, but it also has the side effect of making you shout at the top of your lungs. Don't do it. Not every time does someone need to know that there's a friendly ant way out of range that nobody can shoot at. I've found more people sitting on the side of the road pressing the Q key while invisible than I can even name. The important part is to make sure that when you press that Q key, it's important for those around you. And if you're trying to be even remotely stealthy, don't press Q. Don't be like Bloggins. Denying the enemy of information is just as, if not more important, than learning about them. Remember, the only difference between a scrub lord and a Superman is learning from your mistakes. Back to you, Derringer, and a shout out to Modern Atlas for the pinch hit on this one. This topic is one that I've been meaning to get to, but he gave me the kick in the rear. I'll make sure you get your bonus check. Look me up. I'm on Esamir. North Point Tower, Building 43. You just ask for Vic. I'll be there somewhere. What do you mean we can't let NC in? Look, he helped. I don't care what you think, Bloggins. You're some sort of a nitwit anyway. I want you to hit your face on the ground 20 times. Get to it.
Thank you, Romus. Good stuff to live by. And I know I am one of those ones who's played Infiltrator before, sneaky, and just hit the Q button without even thinking about it. So he's talking about me. But moving on to topic number 3 this week. I don't know how closely you guys follow the developers on Twitter like I do, but Rel did tease a anniversary bundle helmet last week. Now, my initial reaction to this when I saw it is that it looks like Sub-Zero's mask from Mortal Kombat. There's a blue, green, and a red variant of it. It basically looks like Sub-Zero, except it's black and kind of shiny, and only the lenses of the actual goggles themselves are a color. Like I said, you have a blue, you have a green, and you have a red one. So obviously the blue one's going to be NC, the green or teal one's going to be VS, and the red one's going to be TR. I mean, that's pretty obvious what those are going to be. But this leads me to something I do every year around this time, and that is to blindly speculate about what might be in the next anniversary bundle. Because obviously we're coming up on the 6th anniversary of Planetside 2. That'll be on November 12th, 2018. So again, that's just a couple weeks away, so we should really be seeing the next anniversary bundle, like I said, very soon. So that made me think back. Again, I had to go and look, and I said 12th. I meant 20th, so I apologize for that. It should be November 20th, but we still have a few weeks till that comes in. So, I went back and I looked at what we got in last year's anniversary bundle. And if you guys remember, they had 3 different ones. So I would expect that we're probably going to see 3 different ones again this year, all at various price points, which get you various additional things in them. So last year, if you bought the $90 bundle or the $89.99 Daybreak Cash bundle, you got an anniversary horn for all your vehicles. You got anniversary decals for all factions, armor, and vehicles. You unlocked a AE version of the Bandit, the Zenith, and the Lynx. Those were all the carbines for the 3 factions. You also got the Gold Hex camo. You also got Superiority or Liberty or Enlightenment decals. You got the Obsidian trim for the Lightning. You got the Stalker, the SOAS 20, and the Artemis, all AE versions of auto scout rifles for the 3 faction. You got the Stalwart helmet. You got the Obsidian trim for the Vanguard, Prowler, and Mag Riders. You also got a 12-month heroic boost, which once again could only be applied to the character you purchased the entire bundle on. You also unlocked the counterintelligence implant, the minor cloak, and the infravision implants. And you also got 9 basic implant packs. You also got the Stoic Gold Hex camo for all your factions and the Warbringer title across all your factions. So a lot of stuff that you got for basically $90. And clearly the big thing in there is that 12-month heroic boost. That's what makes me purchase the anniversary bundle every year. and will most likely make me purchase the bundle again this year. So again, it's time for blind speculation on what we might see in this year's anniversary bundle. Clearly, if Rel's teasing a helmet, we're getting a helmet. This is going to be just like getting the Stalwart helmet last year. It would be nice to see another horn, but who knows? We're obviously going to get decals showing the 5th anniversary. We're going to get a couple weapons because we always seem to get some weapons. And just doing some speculation on this, past anniversary bundles, we've gotten obviously carbines and auto scout rifles this last time around. We've gotten the NS-15s in previous bundles. What else have we gotten? In the 2nd anniversary, we got knives. In the 1st anniversary, we got rocket launchers, Phoenix Striker and Lancer, AE versions of those. 3rd anniversary bundle was my favorite because we got a Lasher, we got the chain gun and jackhammer, and we also got Empire-themed Commissioners, AE versions of those. And finally, the 4th anniversary bundle, we got the Archers, the AE versions of the Archers across all 3 factions. On the TR, you got the TAR and the Armistice, the Rams. NC got the GR-22, a Cyclone and a Longshot, and VS got the HV-45, the Eridani, and the Parallax. So we've seen a lot of different things within these bundles right now. Is there anything really jumping out at me right now that we haven't seen? Maybe AE variants of some of the NSX weapons might be something that we could see at this juncture within the game itself. I'm not sure what else really that we could be looking for now. Obviously, I'd love an AE version of the Derringer, but let's keep the Derringer where it is as a difficult to obtain item, just so I can feel special every time I log into the game still. Other than that, maybe we could see some other carbines, but I know we just did carbines last year, so what are the odds we get more of them? But I'd love an AE GD7F, one of my favorite guns in the game. But safe to say that we're most likely going to see some kind of gun in the next anniversary bundle. We will most likely see, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the newer implants make it into the bundle. We're going to get a camo like we always do. But again, this is something that we need to start thinking about because it's coming around the corner very soon. Once we hit November, I hope to hear more of the stuff that we're going to see in the anniversary bundle itself. So guys, get ready. 6th year is coming around again. And I know $90 is a lot to spend on Planetside 2, but when you really, chunk it all down into the stuff that you get within these bundles, especially if you're a new player to the game itself, they really make sense purchasing for all the stuff that you get. So, if you break it all down, the different weapons that you're purchasing, you're getting so much more than you're actually spending when you pick up one of these bundles. And maybe we'll see some of all these old bundles again come the 25 days of Araxos again, like we did last year. And that would be nice for the folks that missed out on it. But with that, let's move on to our 4th and final topic this week. And that last topic was something that was posted on Reddit. Someone saying that they take back everything bad they've ever said about Planetside 2, and that's because they played a couple hours of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and realized that they love Planetside 2 so much more than some of the new AAA titles that are coming out. And not to kind of beat on Call of Duty Black Ops 4, but I've been watching a lot of my friends play it, and it just doesn't grab me like a AAA title like Call of Duty should. I know a lot of people are off playing it because, the numbers that they're getting for Call of Duty are insane, because they always are. Because Call of Duty calls to a niche class of players, or a certain group of players, and they buy all of them and they play all of them and they enjoy all of them. That's fine. I'm not going to shit on those types of people, because there are people who do the exact same thing for Battlefield. I used to be one of those Battlefield people. When Planetside 1 originally went, gave up the ghost, I played every Battlefield game out there because I was a Battlefield player. Still thinking about Battlefield 5. Haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet, but that'll be soon. But it's interesting to see that people go to a new AAA title. And granted, the person who put this post up did get a lot of hate from the other side of the community, but there were just as many people agreeing with what he wrote, saying that, Call of Duty is a garbage game, and I missed Planetside 2, and I went back to Planetside 2. So more than anything, I just thought it was interesting that someone was willing to throw that out there and say, hey, look, I tried something different, and it made me miss Planetside 2, bugs and all, pimples and all. I still went back to Planetside 2 because I find that I'm the exact same way. I'll leave Planetside 2 and play something different for a little while, but it's always got its hooks in me, and it always brings me back. Granted, I may not experience shitty gameplay and whatever I go and play, but even for me, just playing both, I played both the Black Ops 4 and the Battlefield 5 betas, and while I enjoyed playing them, they just didn't grab me like Planetside 2 constantly grabs me and drags me back in. Like I said, warts and all, I'm still a Planetside 2 player through and through. So I'm going to include a link to this so you guys can read through the comments on this, because interesting to see a lot of people out there who maybe bashed Planetside 2 in the past and then went and played something different and then realized, Planetside 2 is so unique that nobody else can capture the essence that is Planetside 2, and they end up coming back to it. But with that, let's move on to housekeeping this week.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
And I did get 2 emails. My first one comes from Phoenix Briggs, and he writes first, "This is a big email. Oh, Lord." He spouts off some German numbers, and then he writes, 178 before topic. Hey, man, you may think it may be bad for not being with the community, but we do appreciate you, man. We really do, even if you aren't on all the time. I mean, we all got other games and lives to take care of. Heck, I have over 20 animals in my house, but you don't need to be on Planetside 2 24/7. You got to make those podcasts. Next, the Halloween event, yay, but I'm not as happy for I can't connect to Planetside 2 either on PC nor PS4 for some reason, but I will keep watching. Shared experience, you really think that is hard? Just sit in a full attack galaxy and wait for those glorious kills as the driver gets the XP from the droppers and gunners. That one redneck warrior, I believe he's talking about Romus. I am literally a support main while not in the air. Medic revive grenades allowing for reviving while searching the area for that one light assault. Next, Soltic, something I don't truly care about because PS4 doesn't get other servers. And next topic, knives. Everyone loves knives. It's an infiltrator's favorite pastime, although the fact that when you and a level 2 gets into it, it's kind of entertaining for your squad mates as you run around trying to hit him but not allowing him to hit you. And then he moves on to episode 179, and he writes, "Aw darn, I mean, PC is where the game first took place, so I can't really complain that the PS4 updates take longer. I truly do hope my internet fixes itself before the Halloween event goes away." Next, he says, "Get shit done day is called Sunday when you realize at midnight you didn't do shit. God damn it, brothers. TR isn't one for tactics sometimes, but we get shit done with just numbers and more guns. I realize I quoted the engineer from TF2. A lot more guns, sound of chain guns firing in VR, although we don't use them a lot in actual combat. Next, for Romus, flipping bases is a tactic I learned while in X-Law, which is if you flip a VS base, it's actually scary." And then he writes, "Wait, Briggs, you said Briggs. Briggs is my last name. That means must mean I have legal ownership of a server. Just kidding, but still though." And then finally, so on PlayStation, there's a glitch that when you respawn at Indar with any faction, you see a giant interact button in the sky with the square button. It's kind of freaky that only Indar does it, but I don't really mind. And then he closes, PS4 TR Valkyrie Pilot, signing off. I also did get an email from Insanity's Reign, and he wrote, "Hey Mark, aka Derringer, I wanted to add on some of my thoughts to your episode 179 podcast. I was part of CS6 as a TR player, and he's referring to the community smash that I talked about on last week's show. And he says, I would agree that it was a shit show, but there are also some rules that were violated by the NC team. Though not properly conveyed in the minutes before the match, there were rules against ground pounder ESFs, as well as bans on anti-infantry maxes. While it wasn't widespread, there are parts in my playthrough, as well as the official stream, that these players showed up in numbers. Last I checked, there were 25 people who have been banned from Jaeger events, as well as an entire outfit due to this issue. While TR didn't break the rules, it was true that some of the TR went rogue toward the end and weren't listening to orders. I can't imagine the kind of stress that a force commander has to bear, but at the same time, I get the feeling personally that there were a lot of inexperienced leaders just up and down the ranks, and overall the TR was unprepared to fight the smash. You can see that my platoon in the footage were the ones that got hit the hardest in the match proper, starting from Split Peak and continuing down the entire lattice line. As for the producer's letter, I do think that whatever issues we're experiencing right now, namely the infamous disconnect bug, is all due to two different factors. One of them is probably the new introduction to the Soltech server, and the other is probably the new tech upgrades that are coming out for both the Forge Light engine as well as whatever is cooking up in the kitchen at this time. The reason why I think the opening up of the Soltech server may have something to do with it is because it could be causing bandwidth issues with DBG Central, and while in theory each server should be able to handle its own load independently, I think that the introduction to a new server based out in Japan may be stretching the backend server loads up to a new high that DBG Central just can't handle right now. For the second and more likely reason we could be experiencing all these lovely bugs and issues is simply because the devs are being ambitious. Let me tell you, this gets me excited. The possibility that we could be looking at a completely different Planetside 2 in years is something that excites me to no end as an upper leader in an outfit. The influx of new players will be amazing. Thank you for your hard work and for reading my email. Stay safe. So, Insanity's Reign, yeah, that your last part kind of sticks with me the most as well. The devs being ambitious also gets me excited. I've heard some unconfirmed rumors about what they're working on, and I'm not going to say them on the show because if I do and they turn out to be true, someone might come hunt me down at my house, and I don't want that to happen. There's an unnamed developer that I recently friended on LinkedIn who now knows my general location, so I'd like to keep that quiet. But yeah, I'm excited for what they're doing as well and what this could actually bring to the game itself. So thank you for the email, Insanity's Reign, and also you, Phoenix Briggs. But that's going to be it for this week's show. So how can you get in touch with me on the show? And I know it's like beating a dead horse with this record over and over again, but start by visiting my website, www.instantactionpodcast.com. Next, you can email me, instantactionshow@gmail.com, just like Phoenix Briggs and Insanity's Reign did. Call me and leave me a voicemail, 347-4VM-4PS2. Straight up digits is 347-486-4772. Follow the show on Twitter at InstactPodcast, and I'll always follow me on Twitter at The Derringer. But in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. And finally, besides Go Red Sox, thanks for listening and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button.
Get your arms combined.